good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome to Grow with the Safety Chick. Grow with the Safety Chick is just a platform where we bring young people together who are trying to do amazing work in the various areas that they're working in, and we arm them with practical tips that can help them grow. And the reason I decided to do it is because I realized that many of us, we are amazing, we do fantastic work, but sometimes we do not have enough information. And sometimes we probably do not have family connections that make us to do the things we are supposed to do, right? And so because we do not have that family connection, it makes us to feel that we can't achieve certain things because of that. And I believe that that is a lie from the pit of hell. That's what I sincerely believe. I feel like regardless of where you were born, regardless of the circumstances you find yourself in, if you are able to pick up practical tips from information that those who have gone ahead can provide, you can make a headway. You would not be able to jump the process of growth, that's a fact. However, you would be able to learn, and instead of looking all over the place, you are more targeted in your approach. You know, many times when you start to do something, you are looking for the tips, you are looking for everything. But if you already have your roadmap, all you just need to do is follow it and you're going to get to where you need to get to, right? And so that's what we're doing here. I have seen how these things have worked, and I've seen how it worked in my life. I've seen how it worked in the lives of my friends. And I just thought, oh, okay, we can do this for other people. And so that's why we have that Telegram group. And that's why I'm always asking you to tell me what your plans for the week are. And then at the end of the week, we are checking to see that you've been able to make progress. And then we have sessions like this where you can ask your questions and we can answer them. And then I teach you something. And of course, the Ask Me Anything we have on the group from time to time, where you ask me questions and I respond. But this time around, I just thought that why not bring my amazing friends to also come and share. I don't have to be the only one teaching you everything. I can teach you, I can, as if you've noticed, I can talk. But bringing my friends would help you see different perspectives. You're going to see people from different career paths still excelling. And so regardless of where you find yourself, you will see that, okay, these people are doing it and you're able to pick up things from them. And so that was why I decided to bring our amazing speakers. So I have to give you gist about these my speakers. These my amazing speakers, they are all 2018 Mandela Washington Fellows. And they were with me at Arizona State University when we were all sent to the US in 2018. And they are doing fantastic work in the different areas they find themselves in. And I thought, why not bring them to come and share with you so that it won't be like, every time Safety Chick is always saying, Ugochi is always saying, hear from others, and that would give you some perspective. And of course, I want you to also plug to their network, because you might see one of them that you really connect with and you feel that their expertise will be needed by your target audience. I would love to see you guys collaborate with them, do something with them with your platform and all those kinds of stuff. So you see, it's a win-win situation, right? So I have 4 amazing speakers here, and I'm going to be starting with the ladies. We have Felicity Walu. Felicity is a lawyer and a security expert. Something very interesting about Felicity. During the times when the Boko Haram thing was really high, Felicity was involved in a suicide bombing attack. She got injured, and because of her experience growing up, she has used that to begin to equip women in northern Nigeria with security skills so that they are able to escape when they find themselves in terrorist situations. We also have Janet Silantoi. Janet is from Kenya, and Janet is a techie person. Like, she's so intelligent. Almost all the high-level exchange programs in this world, she has been there. She's Tech Women, Mandela Fellow. She's a Chevening recipient at the moment, and just so much more. She's helping to provide STEM education to young girls in Kenya, and she has worked with other young people collaborating across different country lines. And then we have Alpha Diallo. If you've heard me talk about my child safety storybook, Getting into French, it was courtesy of Alpha's friendship. Alpha just said, my organization must partner with you. So I'll be going to Kenya when the borders, Guinea rather, when the borders open, and we're going to be working together on that. And then he's a HSE professional with a focus on the environment. and we'll be working together on a book for safety for children and the environment. And then, of course, we have Jordan Griffiths. Jordan is our policy advisor from South Africa, and I had to bring him because he has a unique perspective, because he's not doing the kind of work most of us are doing, which is either business or social impact. His is on the policy angle, and I believe that for some of you, your plans for the future might include policy making, being involved in the government somehow, and it would be great to hear his own angle on these things, right? So that's why they're here. And I've said all that so that you're going to know that these are not just ordinary people. And regardless of the fact that it seems like they've done so much, they all started out at the same level as everyone here right now. No name, no connection, nothing. But by sheer hard work, following certain principles, putting certain things in place, they've been able to grow, and they continue to grow. This is 2020, and they're still making huge strides in their various fields. And that's why I wanted you all to hear from them. So we're going to go straight to it, because I want you to have the chance to also ask them your questions. I have 2 questions for all of them. And after that, you get the chance to ask them your own questions. So for my amazing speakers, I would appreciate if you can keep your answers as brief as possible, so that we're going to have enough time to take questions from the audience. Like I told you when I reached out to you, it's just a family meeting. They are my mentees, proteges, and we're just here to learn. So the first question, and all of you are going to answer that question. And we're going to start with Felicity. The first question is, very briefly, tell us about your accomplishments. Or you could skip that, but tell us very briefly about yourself and the top 3 things which you think accelerated your rise. Everybody has different perspective on what it is that has made them to succeed quite fast, but I need to know from your own perspective. So this particular question, everybody's going to answer it. So we're going to start with Felicity. So I've unmuted you, Felicity. You can now unmute yourself. Yes, so Felicity, over to you.
Okay, Ugochi, how are you? And how is everybody? Good afternoon. I'm actually glad to be here.
Awesome.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Do I have any accomplishments? These are very large words, but I would say some of the very few accomplishments that I've been able to call as accomplishments, because we all know that accomplishments are relative. Some people will see them as giant strides, some people will see them as very little. So for me, becoming a lawyer was a very huge accomplishment, because I thought I wouldn't be able to be one. And then another accomplishment will be switching from the legal perspective of life into security. It is quite challenging, and for me to be able to do that and not lose my identity as a lawyer is also another accomplishment. And finally, I would say one of my other accomplishments, which is known, which is part of it, is being accepted into the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which was, it was a stiff competition. We had how many thousand, I've forgotten how many thousand applications, and only 60 were picked from Nigeria, and I was one of them. So I would say that's a big accomplishment, a huge one to me. Thank you.
Awesome. So what would you say are the things that made you to achieve those things? Like your top 3, yeah, what do you think?
Okay, for me, Ugochi, you have already actually answered the question when we came in. You were talking about discipline. So discipline is one of those things. If you know that this is what you want to be, you must be disciplined. You must have patterns that go in line with those things. Secondly, apart from discipline, I would say I had a passion. I had a passion to speak, most especially in the face of injustice. So you could say that right from childhood, human rights had always been something I did not know what it was. I couldn't define what it was, but it was a passion in me that, I mean, someone's rights should, someone should speak for another if the person does not have a voice. So these things kept me going. And then I'm a Christian. I'm sorry to say, I'll say God. So those are the part of the
All
things that
right.
actually kept me going.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll be unmuting Alpha now so that Alpha can also share. Alpha, you can unmute yourself now.
Hi guys, I hope you can hear me all.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ugochi, for bringing me into this communication. And I think, like you said, it's a family communication. Talking about accomplishment, it can be a very huge word, like said Felicity. Hi guys from ASU. I can say hi to Jordan, Janet, and Felicity by the moment. I'm very glad to be in the same panel with you guys. You were very amazing when we met in Arizona State. And this is a great pleasure for me to be part of this communication. So the accomplishment, the first one of which I'm very glad is having gathered more than 72,000 euro for a community, for a village. And that money can be maybe small for their needs, but it can start something. So that money is going to take care of the Griffiths Park of Guinea, where we can protect and save animals and take care of the wild field and protect citizens who are living by the side of that park, particularly. More than 13 villages and over 2,000 people are going to benefit from that money. So having be in competition with a lot of countries by the side of IUCN, the International Union on Nature Conservation, and being selected, particularly my project and as Alpha, and this is a great accomplishment of which I'm very glad. And the second accomplishment I can say I'm glad is having bring more than 16 countries in West Africa to work together about environment. So you maybe have seen somewhere it mentioned Alphabet. Alphabet is a platform that I have studied in Senegal. It was in 2016. That platform helps me particularly to bring all environmentalists from these countries to work together to provide information of their countries, and by the same moment to provide tips that can help fight against climate change. So the third one I can call accomplishment is this partnership with Ugochi. I know this woman is particular and she's launching every time and she would like to go forward. So that's a great accomplishment also, because I am going to bring in Guinea here something that's not there. Children are sometimes abducted and people are killed in accidents and so on. For children, I didn't thought about them as an HSE professional. I just focused on people working in official places. But now I think I can do something for children. I can protect them from the beginning and they can raise up with that education particularly. So writing the book by the side of Ugochi as a co-author is one of the great accomplishments I did for particularly this year. So I don't know whether you can call those things accomplishment, but I'm very proud of this.
Oh, they are great. They are great. They are just fine. So what would you say are some of the things that helped you to achieve these things?
Okay, the three particular things helped me to accomplish these accomplishments. First is that I know people are maybe not so comfortable to talk about God, but I said everything is from Him. So He is in the beginning of things, in the middle of them, and at the end of everything. So that particular step in Him, and that He can help me in every step I can start on. That's particularly the first thing helps me to go over this accomplishment. The second one is blessings. So my parents are here, and I am sorry for those who do not have their parents. and we pray God to agree them into his paradise. But by the same moment, I think having your parents by your side is something particular. So they can advise you, and you can earn what they call the most important thing in life, the time. So they can advise you what's good for you before you step. And if they've been in situations, bad situations like those, they can provide you good advice. So that's also a blessing. The second tip. The third one is courage. So working hard, being a hard worker, waking up soon in the morning and going late bed, working, and anything I want to do, I just do it. If it works, okay. If it doesn't work, I learn from my mistakes. Like said Nelson Mandela, it seems impossible until you see it done.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll be going straight to Jordan. Jordan, I've unmuted you. Can you unmute yourself?
Here we go. Thanks, Ugochi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. To my colleagues at ASU, so lovely to see you all again. And to everyone who's part of Ugochi's mentee program, lovely to see you as well. A short introduction. My name is Jordan Griffiths. I am a South African, if you can pick up from my accent. I am based in Pretoria. My current job is that of a policy advisor. I work as the policy advisor to the executive mayor in Pretoria. So I'm based here at the capital city working with the mayor, which is quite a passion of mine. Before I worked as a policy advisor, I was an elected city councillor. So I've been involved in politics pretty much most of my adult life. And I was elected in 2016 and then moved into the policy role in 2017. The questions that Ugochi raised sort of forced me to reflect on a lot of the opportunities that I've had, particularly one in which helped to accelerate my career was obviously sort of pursuing higher education and advancing my skills. So when I went to university at the University of Pretoria, I did an undergrad degree, an honors degree, and a master's degree in a field called security studies. And it was excelling at this which actually led me to my first job, where I was recommended by my head of department to take on a particular role. And this in turn sort of helped me to get on the path to politics. One of the things about politics, if you are interested in pursuing it as a career, in particular, is it requires a lot of working for free, which a lot of people don't know. The perceptions of politics are obviously quite negative, particularly on the continent in terms of, how it's perceived as an avenue to achieve wealth, etc. But in South African politics in particular, you've got to be prepared to kind of give of yourself, your time, and even your money at times for the organization, and I think that's quite an important value just to succeed as well in life, is to be able to assess those moments when you do things without any perception of future reward. And for me, I was basically a volunteer in politics for almost over 6 years before I actually became an employed politician. And that kept me grounded for a lot of that period. So that was quite an immensely valuable experience. And even now in politics, once you're sort of formally employed, either in government or if, as I said, as an elected politician, you still spend a lot of your time doing things outside in communities and doing those for free, essentially. There's no remuneration. You've just got to be active. So I would encourage you to think in those terms as well. You may obviously want to pursue wealth. You may want to earn money, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But just consider the possibility that to achieve those goals, you may have to, in fact, incur costs, whether those costs are time or money yourself. So that's quite important. One of the things that I also do a lot of, which has sort of led to, I'll try and group these achievements, but over the sort of the last 10 years, I've been to Azerbaijan, the United Kingdom, Canada, Oslo, Norway, the US, parts of Africa, and a few other parts of Europe, all of which have been on scholarships, travel scholarships. So I've had a lot of opportunities to travel over the last 10 years. And I haven't paid for any of them, by and large. And part of that is because I read a lot and I'm always constantly looking for opportunities. And so there are plenty that abound. I guarantee you, if you spend your time following the right networks or being immersed in the right networks, there are so many opportunities that exist out there to see the world, often at the courtesy of another foreign government who will spend their taxpayers' dollars to fly you over there. So this is a pretty big achievement that for myself personally has been quite thrilling, because I've been given the opportunity to travel, sometimes just for the sake of traveling, other times to actually pursue short-term studies, which has been immensely rewarding as well. So I would encourage you to read widely, follow the sort of global media, follow global opportunities. This has been massively impactful for me as well. So yeah, those are a few of the things that have sort of guided me through my career. The other being sort of just creating a very strong sense of self-discipline and self-control. So the ability to be able to set goals and to achieve them and to systematically track how you perform over time. So in my case, while I began a corporate career, when I finished university, I knew that I wanted to go to politics. And I knew that, for instance, in August of 2016, I was going to run to be an elected city councillor. And I spent the years running up to that volunteering, preparing myself to be nominated to run. And that's what happened. In 2016, I was elected and I served as a city councillor. A year later, I was then moved into the position of being the policy advisor to the mayor of the capital city, which for me was totally unexpected, not something that I considered I would be doing, but I was earmarked for that role and I moved into that role. And now during that role, I've survived 2 mayors who have come and gone in the city, one of which left under the terrible circumstances, a bit of a scandal, but I'm still standing, which is what I'm grateful for. But of course, the next goal for me in my head, which I'd like to foresee, is to either pursue a master's degree overseas, or if not, in 2024 is the next national election in South Africa, and that would give me the opportunity to run for parliament. And so that is the next kind of vision that I need to achieve. And so now I'm just kind of applying myself towards that. It's always in the background. I do a lot of writing to support that. So we have a platform in South Africa called the Daily Maverick, which is one of our premium news publications. And so I try and discipline myself to write weekly. Every week I write a 1,000-word column and I try to get it published. And that's for free. I don't get paid for that. I'm merely trying to help that media platform generate more interest and to try and write about controversial issues or topics. And yeah, I mean, so I set myself that goal at the beginning of this year, and I think it's the middle of the year, and I've had about 20 columns published. So this is the kind of way you get started. You just gotta do it. So those of you who are perhaps interested in writing, or you want careers in writing or anything along those ideas, I would encourage you to just sit down and write as well. It's very, very important. At the moment, I'm also working on a book as well about my city and about the history of some of the politics in my city. And again, it just required me to start. So I'm now at about 40,000 words on this book, and I have to keep writing. And obviously the story isn't finished because the next election hasn't rolled by. But this kind of self-discipline, this self-control is very important, and it's what keeps pushing me forward. Thanks, Ugochi.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jordan. I hope you guys are picking some things from their stories. The reason I had to ask them to share their stories is because there may be some things they are going to say that may not be covered in a straightforward question, but just by listening, you can pick it out. Did you hear him talk about being strategic because he's looking towards being elected in 2024? He's already making the moves now. Do you see that? So guys, I hope you are taking notes. So Janet is going to be coming up now. Yes, so Janet, you can go now.
Just confirm that you can hear me first.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Janet.
Hi, it's so nice seeing you guys. I had not realized how much I had missed you all. Okay, so talking about my accomplishments, this is one of the things I'm getting comfortable talking about without really sounding a bit braggadocious, if I can call it that. So I think I'd start by saying I'm actually a mother of 2 children, and I have that on my CV. That's an accomplishment. Because that means they say giving birth, it's a near-death experience, and I intentionally took myself through that twice. So that's an accomplishment. So on to serious things, like now real accomplishments. So I started my nonprofit called Butterfly Techies, and it's now 4 years running. And I think that's one of the things that, if I can say I did in my life, I'm so grateful that I started it. In as much as it was just an afterthought, and I thought I'll just do it, over the weekends when I have time. But it has had a life of its own. And I'm so grateful that we started with a group of 20 girls in rural Kenya. And right now we are looking at over 600 girls. So for me, that's one of the biggest achievements I've had so far. And currently I'm in the process of setting up a resource center in a really remote village in Kenya. So I'm really trusting God that that goes well and that I get the right partnership for that. So the other accomplishment is, of course, the Mandela Washington Fellowship in 2018, which I met amazing people, and I also made like real life friends and partnership that has really taken me a long way. And in 2017, I also was part of the Tech Women program, which we were in Silicon Valley for 3 months, and I did my internship in Symantec. And I think for me, just waking up every morning and walking around Silicon Valley, that has just been a dream come true. And the fact that I never spent a shilling for that, I'm a true child of God. So just as Jordan has said, there are so many opportunities out there, and we just need to be very strategic and plus plan about how you want to achieve some of these things. To me, when I started my undergrad in business information technology in Kenya, I mean, we read about Google, we read about all these startups, Facebook and Twitter, and just walking around their offices like it's my neighborhood. That for me was a confirmation that all our dreams are valid, for sure. So the other achievement was in 2019, I was selected for a Zuri Award under the STEM category. So basically, it's a Kenyan award that recognizes basically women who are doing stuff around, like their communities. And so for me to get that award in 2019 was just validation enough that I'm on the right track. And it really just gave me the push and the connection as well to just continue with the work that I'm doing, and also just moving forward to setting up the resource center. And in 2019, 2020, I'm now a Chevening Scholar, just about to finish my master's in cybersecurity at Lancaster University. Again, I have not paid a shilling for that. So if you actually look at all my awards, if you can call them that, it's been from 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Oh, and just recently, like a week ago, I got recognized as one of the top 50 women in cybersecurity in Africa. So that's my newest achievement.
Yeah, I know someone on that list. I know a Nigerian on that list. I'm so happy that my very own JNet is on that list. Wow.
The Nigerians are shining. I'm telling you, I saw their profiles. I was like, goodness, I need to be mentored. But yeah, so that's my latest achievement, if I can call them that. And I think if I can give you 3 things that basically got me to where I am right now, is basically being very, very intentional. Like, always ask yourself, what is the outcome of what I'm doing? Even if it's meeting Ugochi and we're gisting for 3 hours over coffee, I need to be very intentional about what is my outcome about that date. You know, what is my outcome about everything that I'm doing? And I think that gives you a perspective in terms of everything that you're doing, because it means now you will need to plan. And I think it's one of the things Ugochi just mentioned as she started. That is part of planning, and it enables you to just have clarity in terms of what you're doing. The other thing I would say is really following up and looking up at people who are where you want to be. Because if there's one thing I realized very early in my career is success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you look at people and you're like, oh, wow, they're doing such amazing things. I mean, I'm very old. So social media just came the other day. I mean, you guys are very lucky because you can practically stalk someone on Facebook, on Twitter. Most of these people have blogs. Most of them have like, their own websites where they put a lot of resources, information. So be very, keen in following up some of these things. And as Jordan also said, most opportunities will be shared in this platform. It's fine to hang out with your village mates, but it's also good to also look forward to other people who know other things. Diversify your network. That's all I can say on that point.
So beautiful. That is so beautiful. I love that. Diversify your network. You see, many times some of us, we just want to network up and we don't want to net sideways or even network down. You need everyone. Honestly, I was just thinking about it some days ago that I have this protege. She's not like a friend. She's 25 years old. But you see, this young lady, whenever she sees anything anywhere that would benefit me, she has sent me a WhatsApp or she has sent an email because she just wants the best for me. And because, again, maybe because she knows that I would do the same for her. So you need to, make sure that your network is not just your own paracord set. Nigerians will get what I'm talking about. Make it to be diverse. Look for the people above, look for those on your level, your peers, then look for those that are coming around you. Because honestly, we all need one another. Wow, that is just so good. I'm going to start with the next set of questions with Alpha. But before I go to Alpha, did you guys notice that they were all saying almost the same thing in different ways, using their different experiences? There was the talk of self-control, of discipline, being intentional, being strategic. There was the God factor. If you were there in the last meeting, you would remember that I talked about God and the other areas of your life, how you must create space for your relationship with God, plans for finances, plans for relationship, plans for your growth. You have to be well-rounded across all areas. Otherwise, if one side suffers, it would affect the other side. Do you see? Then they talked about being intentional, about the ability to travel for free. I think I mentioned the website you guys can check opportunities on last month. I can't remember now. But there are tons of opportunities that are looking for amazing young people. Just be amazing, apply, you would get it. It's as simple as that. And you've heard them, they've traveled all over. See, Janet, I doff my hat to her. Tech women, she was there. Silicon Valley. This Chevening too, like almost everything has been paid for. And you can hear Jordan, in the past 10 years, he has traveled and almost everything was paid for by someone else. These are just amazing stuff. My next question will be going to Alpha. But before I ask Alpha his question, I just have to say hello. We have to recognize Alpha's friend. I don't want to say more than that. Alpha's friend. She's Lena. I've spoken to Lena before. Welcome, Lena. Thank you so much for coming and for supporting Alpha today. I really, really appreciate that. So, Alpha, I'm coming to you right now. You can unmute your mic. Your question is, in your opinion, what is the importance of emotional intelligence as young people try to advance their work? By the way, guys, Alpha was the one who sent the PowerPoint slides I put on the group. He wanted you all to be able to ask more questions. Awesome. You see, Jordan has put opportunity desk in the chat. See, correct people. Surround yourself with correct people. They will take you far. If there are 5 correct people in your network, you are the 6th one. Just as simple as that. Back to being serious. So Alpha, Alpha is going to be answering about emotional intelligence and why it is important as we begin to do work and try to advance in our careers. So over to you, Alpha.
So I'm going to talk about this particular experience I've been facing during last month. I think it's been 3 months in Guinea. A man who was really in love with a woman. They got married and they had 2 children. So these children were amazing, and the man also. One day something happened. The man killed the woman. He killed his wife. So that experience was a bad experience. Before that day, my father came back from the mosque and told me, I used to see a man, he spent more than 5 hours praying and crying. I would like you to meet with him. He's having a problem. It's an emotional problem. I think that he has a problem, but he can't talk to someone, and nobody is there to help him get out from his trouble. So if you can meet with the man, you can save him, or maybe you can propose a solution. Crying and praying sometimes is good, but we need solutions from human beings. So that particular exam made me very sad because he was just lost and he could not share what he was feeling. Feelings are very necessary and you can't control them. They come from everywhere. I am the first one who took some classes from Janet and Jordan. I thank you for those classes. How we can react in front of certain things, because feelings can come from every part. So that particular thing brings me to come to emotional intelligence. And another thing is creating my own company. We all feel and want to be secure. And our environment is showing that the more money we have, the more we think that we are secure. But let's tell you a thing, your emotions are different of your pocket, different. You can be rich and suffer from your emotions. You can be poor and be very happy more than someone who is rich. Money can make the difference. Happiness is not linked to the wealth you have, but happiness is linked to what you feel and how you react with what you feel. That's much important. You are going to face the world. Start by knowing yourself. If you have noticed in that PowerPoint, I mentioned what they call self-awareness. So know yourself, know what you like, know what makes you upset, because the world over there is different and people are not going to be joking with you. If they have an interest with you, they work with you. And if they don't have any interest with what you do or say, they can cut you off or take you out of the control. If you can manage yourself, that's the second thing I'm going to talk about, self-management. You will lose friends, you will lose parents, you will lose your life and lose yourself, like the man did. He killed his wife. He could get maybe some advice from me, but we Africans often think that a man who talks about his problem or a man who cries when he has feelings is a maybe not strong man. This is not the fact. We all cry sometimes and we all have problems sometimes. So your emotions, you have to take care of them and you have to understand. To finish this communication, because I'm not alone, I'm going to talk about life paradigm changing. In my slides, I mentioned that today you all are dependent of something, from your family, from someone else, from your knowledge, from your school, and you want to be independent. That independence is necessary for you to be more wealthy and to have a huge impact in the areas where you are. But don't forget a thing. The third one is your interrelations with the people who you are going to meet and the society in which you are. So that social management also, that social competence is necessary. We call that interdiscipline, like said Felicity right now, or we can also call it interdependence. So these facts are necessary. Go back to my slides and you will see I have provided some technical tools. Those can help you to come up with this challenge. And notice a thing, you will be every day challenged with your emotions. And it's the greatest database that ever existed. So value your emotions, control the velocity of your emotions, and intentionally take your emotions from inside parts to outside. So communicate them. And if there are negative ones, change them with your thoughts. So get a self-management with a good mind control. I think this can help, and I'm listening if you have more questions, but I think I have just summarized what I wanted to tell from those slides. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Alpha, for that. Thank you so, so much. We need to be self-aware and self-manage ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to lose relationships. So I'm moving over to Felicity. Felicity, unmute yourself. Felicity will be answering this question. Is self-esteem a tool for success in leadership? Whether it's yes or no, how does that work?
Okay, Ugochi, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so the answer to that question will be yes. And before I go into why it's a yes, I would like to give a short definition of self-esteem as defined in Wikipedia. Wikipedia defines self-esteem as an individual's subjective evaluation of their own worth. And for me, okay, I said, and for me, self-esteem simply means your ability to see yourself beyond what the world even sees you as. So, what do I mean when I say self-esteem can stand as a tool? Self-esteem is all-encompassing, your ability to see value in yourself. And you cannot see value if you do not, you cannot give out value if you do not think you have it inside of you. So that's what self-esteem does. We have it inside of us and we are able to bring it out. Let me tell you, a leader is not the one who knows it all, but a leader is one who has the ability to gather those who have it all with him. So with self-esteem, a leader is able to give to the organization, and he recognizes that he has value and is able to give out that value. And then he recognizes that he doesn't have it all and is able to, receive from those who have. For example, I'm a lawyer, I'm a security expert. I head an organization and we are talking about the finances of that organization. What possible, impact can I give in terms of financing when I could get an accountant who has the requisite knowledge to give out this? Now, because of self-esteem, I'm able to recognize that that person's addition onto their company does not steal my own worth or does not steal my own authority. That is what self-esteem does. So self-esteem is a very good tool. And I'll give you a practical example. For the Nigerians who are out here, you go on the street and you get victimized by a policeman. He's not angry because of anything. It's because his self-esteem is very little. So he sees you, a young girl driving a car, and before you even say anything, he's already upset with you. It's because he doesn't have self-esteem. But for me, you keep me at the gates handling access control. Somebody comes in, the way I address the person, because I have self-esteem, I'm able to politely tell the person no, and the person cannot intimidate me because of his looks or anything, because I recognize that I have value, and at that point I'm doing my job. I'm not intimidated. So self-esteem is a very big tool. It's a large topic that cannot be discussed over a short period of time, but it helps in communication. It helps in your ability to even recognize value. You are not bullied into accepting somebody's idea, and you are not bullying people into accepting your own ideas, but you are able to manage what these people are bringing on the table and saying, oh, this is actually, it can work. And if it fails, it's not because the person didn't know what he's saying. So for me, Ugochi, self-esteem is a very big tool, and as young people, we should strive to have it. A lot of these things, we cannot get it overnight. It's supposed to be built over a period of time. A lot of us have grown under parents who did not understand how to bring us up. So they have used words that have in turn brought down our self-esteem. So we need a conscious effort, a strategic type of planning to be able to groom this in ourselves. So, I think I can stop here, Ugochi.
Wow, that was just so good. That was so good. Thank you so much, Felicity. That was so brilliant. You talked about being able to bring people that add value to the table without feeling like you are not good enough. Because I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. They feel like if they bring others who are good enough, it will take away their shine. No, it doesn't take away your shine. If you are sure of your identity, of who you are, that shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. okay? And then she talked about there is no overnight fix. Guys, we have to start from somewhere, and then as we grow, those things get bigger also, you know? So I'll be going to Janet right now. So Janet, you are unmuted already. There's a lot of conversation about design thinking in solving problems. In a simple and practical way, can you share with us how this works in real time?
Okay, so I'll really, I'm not sure, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so now since I'm deep into academia, I'll really try and make this as simple as possible. So the idea behind design thinking, basically, it's just a design methodology like any other. But the only difference, or what makes design thinking cutting edge, if you can call it that, is the fact that any solution that is proposed to be, brought forward through this methodology is actually purely human-centric. And by that I mean is where when you're coming up with a solution to, if you're trying to solve a problem, you just don't sit and think in your box and come up with a solution. The solution should actually be based on what the human need for that particular problem is. So basically, when you're looking at design thinking, is identifying a problem and solving it from a human-centric perspective. And usually design thinking would have like 5 major steps that basically would take you through the whole process. And so the first step would be empathy. And by empathy is where you actually get into that particular environment, like where you're trying to solve the problem, and gain a deeper personal understanding of the issues involved. And that will now help you get to the second stage of design thinking, which is defining the problem. Because as you empathetically get into that environment, you get to really understand the problem from a human-centric perspective. And then that brings you to the third process, which is ideation. So for ideation is whereby once you understand like what the problem is, then you all come together with all the people involved in that particular process and just brainstorm and just think outside the box in terms of what solution is particularly suited for that particular situation. And this is where design thinking now takes, for me personally, this is where design thinking ticks the box for so many people in terms of innovation, because it means at times you may just be solving like a regular problem or a problem that has been recurring and has always been there. But then the ideation bit is where you actually now think outside the box in terms of how can this solution be looked at and actually solved in a different perspective. Then okay, so the fourth stage is the prototyping, and the prototyping is where you now experiment with the ideas that you had and actually try and test, try and see how it suits the particular problem that you're trying to solve. And so the main thing here with design thinking compared to any other method of, solving a problem is the fact that it allows you to come up with a sort of a solution and test it before actually doing the actual execution, if you can call it that. And just to give a practical example is there was a time we did this design thinking exercise with my girls in one of the boot camps, and it was so interesting how they were able to solve like really basic problems using amazing ideas, because as everyone came in together and thought about the same problem, because it was just basic things that we go through, like the shortage of water in our community, the whole drought thing, and actually trying to get a solution around it, and female genital mutilation, like problems that the society has. And at the end of the day, we came up with a couple of prototypes, and we actually hoping to develop them into applications and to develop them into real solutions that they can actually use. Because part of the girls who were doing a physics project, they ended up harvesting the water in school, and then that is actually now used for like irrigation, and they're actually doing now farming and stuff like that. So this is just to tell you that that idea can be translated into real life big problems and actually enable you to just look at the same problem, but now look at it from a different point. And it gives you a deep understanding, because you're now looking at the solution from what the people need or the people who are actually having the problem, like getting the solution from their perspective, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. And in fact, the reason I was so particular about this design thinking question is there is one of us here, and when I asked them on the group what are the kinds of things they would like to learn about, that was the first question she asked. She really wanted to learn about design thinking. Ru, and Ru is actually our coordinator at the Yali Network in Lagos, currently here. So Ru, I hope you have gotten value from this. I know I shared a video with you, but I needed a real life human being to talk to you about it.
Can I also add one more thing?
Yes, please.
I've actually posted a link on the chat on where guys can get free resources for design thinking courses. And this is the tip, guys. So many universities with this COVID situation, they're actually offering free courses and free training. So while you're in there looking for this design thinking, shine your eyes, look for scholarships, look for funding, because right now there's a lot of that going on. So yeah, I've just posted something, and it has a lot of, most universities are actually on that link, and you can actually just, you know, look through and be strategic.
Wow. Be strategic. Thank you so much, Janet, for that. That's just so amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we're heading to Jordan. Jordan, you can now unmute yourself. So your own question is, for young people interested in taking the conversation further in terms of policy making, what is your advice on the best way to make the switch and be effective, most especially from the opposition angle? I have to talk about the opposition angle because I know you've been sort of on the other side, but you're still doing amazing, and that's helped your profile and all that. So could you speak to that angle? Because I see that here in our midst, we have amazing young people who in the coming years, they will be doing some work in policy or wanting to work in government. And I feel your perspective would be really, really helpful to them.
Sure, thanks, Ugochi. I think, so I'm still in the opposition, opposition politics. So if you just, very briefly, if you know South African politics very simply, you'd know that the ANC is the national governing party and the DA is the official opposition. And I've been involved in the DA for most of my life. So I'm in a position now where the DA has managed to sort of capture the governance of the capital city of Pretoria, but not overwhelmingly. So nationally, the DA is still in opposition, but in my city, we're in government. So it's a bit of a mixture. I get to sort of traverse both rounds. In my role in the city, I'm able to physically draft policy and laws, which is great. So over the last few years, I've been in an opportunity where I can be and that's one of the reasons why I left the actual politics to become the policy advisor, which was a role where the actual document, the law itself that is being created, I'm able to write and draft and then make sure that it resonates with the political values that we want it to resonate with. For those of you who are thinking about careers in politics or in government or about policy, there's various different avenues to think about it. Again, the most obvious is to obviously join a political organization at a grassroots level and essentially volunteer and work your way up. Now, for some who have a distaste for politics, that may not be something that you're remotely interested in at all, which I can also understand. The other option is obviously to get involved in NGOs, non-profit organizations that operate in your own country, which play a key role in advocating for policy. So, these are issues where you can then decide on specializations that you might be interested. So perhaps you're someone who's really passionate about healthcare, or you're really passionate about the economy, or you're passionate about particular types of international development or industry, or you're invested in labor rights and labor law, or perhaps you're more interested in security, policing and the military, etc. There are different policy avenues for all of these spaces, and there's a need for specialists in all of them. So I'd encourage you then to think about joining an NGO, or even starting your own NGO that focuses on creating material or content that seeks to inform government legislation. It's thankless work, but it's important work. And one of the best ways to get good at it, or to really try and expand, is to read as much as you can. There's lots of good examples internationally about what other countries are doing in terms of how to, create a well-functioning and what they call a capable state. So in many cases, many of the sort of articles I write or the research I do or the ideas I propose, they are in many cases not even my own, but merely ideas that that I've seen being implemented in the rest of the world, which you would know would quite easily be able to be implemented in your own country. So, I'd encourage you, if this is the kind of space that you're thinking about and you want to try and be a more active participant in trying to create and direct the flow of your country, then that's a good avenue to start. Either get involved in politics at a grassroots level, or think about joining an NGO or creating your own NGO. A very simplified website would do as a start to just try and put some ideas out there. But there's various different options. Thanks, Ugochi.
All right, awesome. So I'm sure we've all picked up a lot. If you notice, the questions they had the second time are across different areas, just because want you to have should I say, a holistic view of being a leader or a high flyer in the various areas you find yourself in. So it's not just about making money. Aside making money, you need to make impact. You need to make an impact in your environment. And there were some things I remembered as they were speaking. When we were in the US, I remember that Alpha is a high flyer. When somebody speaks, I know the person is very intelligent. That is Alpha. And because that was how Alpha is, Alpha also said the first thing that came to his mind on any issue. Like, sometimes he would say some things and we are the ones that were like, oh my God, did somebody actually say that? But you see what he said. He had certain conversations. Janet had to reach out to him to speak to him. Jordan did. And right in our presence, during that 5-6 weeks when we were in the US, we could see the literal change in Alpha. Alpha became someone else. Before he would say something, he would look at it from all angles, and it was just so beautiful to watch the evolution. So do you see that you can learn from anyone? You can learn from your peers. You can learn from those above you. You can learn from those coming behind you. And that I just have to talk about that, because when he was speaking about emotional intelligence, it's not just because it was an interesting thing to talk about. He lived it, and he could see that, wow, this is a great way, and he learned more in that area. So now it's time for your questions. Actually, our time is up. 1 hour. Has this 1 hour been good for you? If this 1 hour has been good for you, say something in the comment section, let me see. But even though our 1 hour is up, I really would love you to ask your own personal questions. So while you're putting your questions in the comment section, I'd like to show you the speakers we have lined up for you for 16th in 2 weeks' time. So I'm sharing my screen with you so you can see. And when you see it, let me know that you can. Always, all these my fine pictures. That's not what we are coming to do here. Yes, can you see our next set of speakers? Who can see it? We can see, type yes, 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 yes. So we have Senna from Ghana. Senna was on the regional advisory board with me, also a Mandela Fellow. We have Theo from Rwanda. Theo was also a classmate in ASU. We have Essie Farida from Togo. She's also our colleague from ASU. And then, of course, we have John Obidi. We have to bring a Nigerian to, balance things up. And, and this is to tell you that prepare, mark it on your calendar right now. 16th, you shall all be here with your friends. You can't come and benefit alone. You can't do that. You have to carry others along. So I just thought to show you so that you put it in your alarm, set alarm for it. This is the plan. This is what we're going to be doing till the end of the year. Just bring these people to come and charge you up. And then, of course, I'll let you know some other things. So do we have questions in the comment section? While we're waiting for your questions, I'm still waiting for those questions. Oh, they fed you so much. You don't even have question again. They've done justice to everything. They are bad like that. All of them, can see them. They're hot, very hot people. Me too. I've traveled all expenses paid. I've not said okay, you people know I've been. I don't need to say it. Me too. I've been traveling, all expenses paid, courtesy of international programs, being connected to VPs of big organizations because of programs like this. So when we're asking you to join those programs, it's not because we are trying to just ask you to do things. It's because they have worked. And when we see things that work, it's our duty to let other people to know so that they can also benefit. I can't see questions yet. Okay, somebody will put that in for you, Abisola. I would like somebody on this chat, one of you, to be so diligent to copy the website from here and put it on the Telegram group. And if somehow you got onto this call and you're not a member of our Telegram group, I would like to suggest to you that you join us on the other side, because that's where we're going to have more information and all that. Then an assignment for everyone who is here and who is on the Telegram group is, I would like you to share your learnings from this session on the group and also on social media. Why I would like you to do it on social media is because today makes it 10 years of YALI's existence. And the reason I'm able to bring these amazing speakers to you is courtesy of YALI. If I hadn't gone on the Mandela Washington Fellowship, I wouldn't have met them. So because of them, they're able to come here at no cost because of the relationship we have built, right? So you are going to pay it forward by taking some of the things you have learned here, sharing it on your social media platform, either on WhatsApp or Facebook, wherever you choose. Something simple so that someone else who is not here and who may never have access to us can read your status and learn something. Do you see? Somebody has to learn something from you. And then, of course, because we are not just all talk and no action here, I would appreciate if after this call, you are going to go to the Telegram group and tell me the steps you are going to start to take based on what you have gleaned here today. Practical steps, and I want to see it evident in your plan for this week. Remember how we do accountability. We need to know what are your plans for the week, and by Saturday, we're going to review. So I need to see that on the group. Okay, so now we have some questions. So it's value-packed, it's insightful. We're super proud. Abisola, don't be funny. Oluwa Pelumi says, how do you help a depressed partner? Like, are you talking about relationship? Are we doing relationship talk? I don't know. Please clarify your statement. Are we having relationship talk here? Is that the kind of relationship you're talking about? Do you mean like a business partner or a boy-girl kind of relationship? Any of the speakers that feels they can handle that, just raise your hand. I would unmute you. Then another question here. NK says, I was actually crying when some of the speakers shared their steps. My dear, it's okay to cry. When you finish, you clean your eyes and you do the work. The truth is, you know, like one of them mentioned, there is no overnight anything. You just keep trying, and before you know it, it's all going to happen, okay? Cheer up. So Onyeka says, Jordan, I would like to connect with you, especially in the area of inspiring the boys I mentor. Do you have a social media channel where I can connect with you? Oh, yes. Onyeka is really big on educating young boys to become well-rounded, well-groomed, because if you've noticed, we have more programs targeted at girls than boys, and Onyeka is trying to do something in that regard. So Jordan, please connect with Onyeka. Alpha says, okay, yes. So that Pelumi's question is to Alpha, and he's saying regarding a friend, partner, or sibling. So that's in tune with emotional intelligence. How can you help that friend so that the friend can get out of depression? Okay, emotional intelligence. So Alpha, Jordan, who is going first? Whose hand is raised? Whose hand is raised? Who's going first? Alpha or Jordan? Alpha or Jordan? Alpha or Jordan? Okay, so I can't say Alpha now, so I'm going to unmute Jordan. All right, so Jordan.
Thanks, Ugochi. I was trying to find the hand raising little signal there. I couldn't find it. I was so useless. So yeah, no, I'm happy to connect with Onyeka. My Facebook name is Jordan Luke Griffiths. You can find it if you just search Ugochi on Facebook, search your friends, you'll find me there. But I'm really happy to engage further and take this further. You'll see there's a few of the articles that I've posted there as well, that I've written on. I note that you've posted a few questions just on policy work and on sort of getting involved and starting. I think critically, you know, obviously one has to be able to cultivate and make relationships with the people who essentially make policy. And these are your legislators, your parliamentarians, your local councillors. And so, you know, essentially it's about sort of cultivating those kind of relationships first, so you can influence those people and those individuals, and also creating a sense of legitimacy in your own right. Okay, so you've got to be able to position yourself as a thought leader or a specialist within a particular field. And that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be formally qualified in a particular field or have studied it. It really just means being able to demonstrate sort of intricate knowledge of a particular specialty that you're interested in. And I mentioned those earlier when I spoke. You know, it could be, for instance, in security, or in healthcare, or in the economy, or in the labor environment, or in the environmental environment. These are whole different sort of policy scopes that you can look at and you can explore. And perhaps some of them align with your own individual passions. You know, perhaps you're someone who is passionate about the environment and you want to, do things that are involved in environmental policy. Same thing to do with, say, safety, for instance, or if you're passionate about, you don't want to see people who are, living in poverty, etc. And you want to think about creative ways in which you get your economy growing. So, critically, you need to identify the literature that will help you to sort of grow your knowledge on this. And then thereafter, my challenge is for you to just articulate ideas, and you got to be able to package them in a way that is easy for people to understand. So policy shouldn't be a high level, like, pie in the sky thinking process, but really a tool which allows you to ensure that anyone at any level of education can understand what the goal is that you want to achieve for society. And that means you have to have the ability to take very complex ideas and articulate them down to their bare essentials. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm happy to engage with Onyeka more offline about how we can kind of take this further, and toolkits to sort of really enhance how you think about policy, and also lobbying and changing, your legislative environment. Thanks, Ugochi.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jordan. In fact, when you were speaking, I just knew I also had to add something to that particular question. So you all know that I do some work in safety, right? Now, because I was doing that work in safety, what now happened was, towards the end of last year, Nigeria is trying to, put together its own school safety policy. And because somehow I'm the vocal person in the area of child safety and school safety, I was contacted that they would like me to be part of a committee to critique the policy the country is putting together. And we actually had that. We're supposed to have it as a physical event, but then the pandemic happened. But we had it online. And I could see that the reason I was chosen to be a part of that committee was because of the work I had done so far. So if you are interested in policy, you've got to begin to show thought leadership in that particular area of your interest, and make your work obvious so that decision makers would find you. I'm sure you must have heard me mention that stop fixating on the number of likes or the number of comments on your post on social media. You just keep putting yourself out there, positioning yourself. Those that need to see it are seeing it. And the day they need someone in your space, they are going to get you. But you see, while you're waiting for them to get you, keep building your thought leadership, keep learning. I had to begin to do certain courses on policy because I realized that if I'm already getting invitations to critique a national policy, then that means I need to go the extra mile and prepare myself for those kinds of opportunities. So do you see? So it's really important that we bear that in mind. So Janet, I would like you to come on and answer this question about juggling, parenting, and those opportunities. You are the best person to answer this because you are a mom with active children, you have interests and concerns at home, but then you're also able to travel and do all the amazing things you do.
Right now, I've been a virtual mom for almost a year. So I think the thing is, what I learned very early in my career is there's no work-life balance. That's the truth. There's no balance, there's harmony. Because balance means you have to be everywhere at the same time. Not unless you're God and you're omnipresent. That cannot happen. So I think it's just getting to know that at some point, one thing has to give. And if whatever is giving, what structures do you have in place to cater for that? Like in my case, when I was applying for the scholarship, my mom knew, my dad knew, my entire village knew, because I had a plan for them that for the 1 year, this weekend my children will be with my sister, will be with my auntie. Because you see, I am not there physically present, but my whole clan is there for them. So they're not missing anything in terms of the love and the care. And right now, you know, they just need food and sleep, and that's how I had planned my career. Like before they get to 7, 8 years old, I should have been done with all this traveling and all this upscaling my skills. And I thank God it has worked very well. Because when I turned 30, I was like, okay, my people, I just have 5 years before all these opportunities are no longer feasible for me. So I think the thing is understanding what you need to do at that particular point, and so what covers for what you're not able to do. And this is where your support system comes in handy. So everyone around you should be aware of what you're doing. And they should be very aware as well of how are they covering up for you. So I think for me that has really helped, because I've always known what I'm doing at this particular stage in my life, and how am I compensating for the fact that I'm not physically there. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, that was such a good one. There is no work-life balance. It is work-life harmony, and you must put your support systems in place. Some people just want to be the Mr. I have it all covered and all that. You can get people to help you. I was just telling someone yesterday that I'm currently in Osun State. I have been here at my friend's place resting because I need to rest. I can't keep on being the strong one every time. I need to also rest and let others take care of me, you know? So it's the same way it translates to other areas of our life. You don't have to always be the one, but you can have a system that works even when you're not there. So I've been out of Lagos for the past 2 weeks, but my work at the correctional home is still happening because I have a team member that has taken ownership of that project. Shout out to Edosa, he's here on this call. Thank you for always doing amazing work. And that is it, really. You need to have your support systems in place, because the truth is you can't do it all by yourself. And Janet is so funny. She says she's been a virtual mom. That's the world we are now in, right? Okay, so we'll just take, we have 2 more questions. Let's just take these 2 and we'll wrap up, because I really want us to always keep to time. So Anne is worried about the status quo in Bayelsa, wondering how she can bring organizations to the state because the youth lack work ethics. And she feels like she needs to do something, because if she doesn't do something, she may regret not raising her voice later. So you want to know what to do or what to go about it? And is that what you need? I'll just say that I can just speak to this in the sense that if people are not coming to Bayelsa because the youth do not have a strong work ethic, you need to dig deep. Use the principles that Janet has just shared with us about design thinking. Get to the root of the problem and then try to see how you can create a solution that would solve it. So if the problem is they want things handed to them, oh, you see, Nnamdi is saying, I would like to work with the lady in Bayelsa. Awesome. So find out why is the work ethic low? Is it that people have this entitlement mentality? They want things to be handed to them. What are the techniques you're going to use to let them see that they have opportunities online, that if they take those opportunities, they can get to study and travel and then come back and influence other people? Because the truth is you need success stories. I know a Mandela fellow right there in Bayelsa who makes she created this product, a scientific product that helps to prevent jaundice in babies. And she's right there, and there's a Yali network right there in Bayelsa also, which she had to help start so that young people can begin to get information. So make those kinds of connections, try to share information, let people see practical examples of what their life can be like. And that would only come from training. Training would sort of bridge the gap, then equip them with tools. By the time people begin to apply for opportunities, they get it. For real, they traveled, their mind got opened by their experiences out there, and then they come back. They are sort of like living testimonies, right? And so people see something to look up to. So one of the ways you can encourage youth who have apathy towards work to move towards their goal is by letting them see young people like themselves who are also achieving things. It also makes them to see that, okay, this person too did not come from a rich home. This person too was just like me, but this is the result this person is now having. So I would encourage you, work with Nnamdi, come up with your a plan using your design thinking model from the example Janet has given us, and you just never can tell. Things might just, grow from there. The next question and final question we're taking today is from Pelumi, and he says, I'm a newbie digital marketer and copywriter. So recently I've noticed that there is so much information in the digital space. How can I balance tech, digital, and my traditional or social life? More importantly, time management, so that I don't get overly stressed. Let me see if, does any of our speakers want to take that, or should I just go ahead and speak to it? Does any of our speakers want to take that? Okay, so I would just say, Jordan. Okay, Jordan.
Hey, Ugochi, no, I was actually just typing to say, I think Janet has good insights into that not being stressed, because she has multiple responsibilities. I enjoyed her in the harmony versus balance. These are important concepts that are worth noting. And despite the very real limitations that Janet could use as an excuse to be satisfied with her station if she wanted, no one would blame her for saying, I want to focus on being a mom, I want to do these things, I want to stay at home. These are all perfectly reasonable things to say. She has instead chosen a more difficult path, more challenging path, one which requires her to be a virtual mom, but also allows her to grow and not be sort of solely identified in one particular role. So yeah, indeed, I think when it comes to not being stressed or managing it, she's maybe best placed because she's got so much personal experience.
Okay, so I'll take Janet, and then after Janet, I would also speak to that. Janet, you can unmute yourself.
And that is how Jordan threw me under the bus on this one. Well, I think what I can say is you actually need to be self-aware for you to be able to know, I can manage this much pressure, I cannot manage this. And just a disclaimer, I stayed home as a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. And that's why I realized that is not my calling. I just need to be out here doing so many things. Like, I cannot be confined into one thing. So whoever asked the question, just be very self-aware to the level where you know I can handle this much pressure and this other one I cannot. Like right now I'm doing my dissertation. I'm supposed to be submitting it by end of this month. It's highly stressful. Let me not lie about that. But I've learned to know if my body says no, and I had said I'm going to study up to 3 a.m., 2 a.m., like yesterday, Ugochi experienced a bit of the confusion I'm going through. But the thing is, I'm getting to a place where I know if I can't do this, I cannot. And don't overstretch yourself. And again, you all know an explanation between you and your God, and as you pray and ask for the strength and the wisdom to do whatever you're doing, just do what you can. If you can't, as well, express yourself. And it's fine. You don't need to please everyone and to do everything. Do what you can and leave the rest to God.
All right. I really like that, Janet, and I'm going to take it up from there. So I had to answer this particular question about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago on an education show, Good Morning Education Show. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of tech tools out there. You've got to learn your own plan. What is your plan for your life? What are you supposed to be doing now? Once you create that plan, focus on it. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right. So you know that you're planning to maybe get into policy, say in the next 3 years, and you've created the plan to do a lot of personal learning. to do certain volunteer work that will lead you there. And then tomorrow you come on social media, you see someone that started creating computers from scratch, and the person got a lot of accolades on social media, and then you begin to, let me to go and manufacture a computer. That is not it. You end up putting yourself under the pressure that you do not need because it doesn't align with your core. It doesn't align to where you are going to. So we end up seeing people who are putting themselves on a race that is not for them. So I know that there is that feeling when you come online, you see people getting accolades and you think, oh my God, what am I doing with my destiny? What am I doing with my life? When that happens to you, you've got to be honest enough to calm down and say, what am I supposed to be doing with my life right now? Am I doing it? Have I started achieving my goals? And then when you see that you are right on track, do you know that that alone can take away that unnecessary pressure? And then, you know, when I'm on certain IG lives and they're like, oh, thank you so much for coming on our IG live. We know you are so busy. One day I had to explain. I said, see, yes, I'm a busy person. My time is very important to me. But you see, sometimes I'm busy sleeping. Yes, I am busy because I realize that I also need to rest and take care of myself so that I'll be able to work. I mean, why am I here in Osun State so that I'll be taken care of? It's because I know that I can't keep on pouring out without being refilled. So we've got to understand that when your body begins to tell you, sister, you need to sleep, please shut down everything and sleep. And it is not a crime. Like Janet just said, you all don't want any explanation. You don't. Yes, I'm be taken care of. I need to be relaxed and be taken care of, you know. So please and please and please, Alpha, I'm coming to you. I can see your hand is up. I'm coming to you right now. So please don't put yourself under this pressure. You see, this is the thing. When you know your identity and you know where you're going to, you have put your plans in place. When you come out and you see all sorts going on, you are not fazed because you know where you are going. So I can sleep and I'm not bothered in the least because I know that when it's time to work hard, I work hard and I produce results. So I sleep without guilt. Yes. So you have to be able to tell yourself, take care of yourself. If you were there in the last meeting last month, you remember when I talked about how drinking water was part of my goals for 2020, taking my vitamins, doing exercises. It's my time. I've got to take care of myself because the truth is, if my health begins to fall apart, I would not be able to perform. As a matter of fact, in the past few weeks, you must have noticed on social media, several thought leaders here in Nigeria kept on saying, oh, I broke down. I landed in the hospital. And when I was there, I now realized that I should have rested. I pushed myself. Please, do you have to break down before you realize you need to relax and take care of yourself? No. We need to understand that we are working with flesh. And so you need to take care of yourself, learn to make use of the support system that you have in place, learn to eat well, learn to rest. This morning, I was listening to one lady, Official Makosi, on Instagram, and she's talking about when you exercise, it sends certain kinds of, it opens up your mind and you are more creative and all that because your brain is more energetic and stuff like that. You need to put exercise as part of your plans. When somebody's mentioned routines when she was, I think it was Janet, routines earlier. You must have them. So please stop putting yourself on a race that God did not put you on. You are here in competition with yourself, who you were yesterday. So when I look at my life now, I can see that in 2016, I thought I was fantastic, right? Then my 2020 can see that 2016 was a learner. But was I doing great then? Of course, because we grow. So learn not to put yourself under any pressure. So you are here today. If you work hard, you will get here. If you work hard, it's just as simple as that. Stop running a race God did not send you on, my dear people. Okay, so Alpha, I'm going to take you now and then we'll wrap up. This has just been an amazing, amazing, amazing session. We can go on and on, but we have to stop so that you will come back next time. Alpha, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to end my story because it was a sad story at the beginning. But the reason the guy did what he did was jealousy. So he could not manage it. And he's been going from a place to place, being speaking up and saying what he wants and being praying, but he could not know how to take care of it. So the self-awareness is what's going to solve everything about what Ugochi and Janet been right now talking about you. Pushing yourself is a good thing. You need to achieve things. You will achieve a lot of things. The need is just the beginning of things. And if you have the desire, the greatest ambition and the definiteness of purpose in which you are intending and you want to do, you will achieve them. But don't forget about yourself. Remanage yourself every time. Learn from the books, learn from people, listen the much, and be empathic with what you are in front of you. So this is the last word I would like to say. It was a great pleasure to talk with you guys, and I hope that this adventure is just the beginning and we're going forward. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alpha. So this brings us to the end of our session today. I would just like to say a big thank you to our amazing speakers, Alpha Diallo from Guinea, Janet Silantoi from Kenya, Felicity from Nigeria, Jordan from South Africa. Thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate your time. I do not take your time for granted at all. Thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge to these amazing young men and women. And I know that they're going to do you proud, because by the time one day in future, they'll be making a speech on stage and they will say, that day when I listened to Jordan or I listened to Janet and it turned my life around and I became so. But truth be told, they are going to look back at today and say, oh, wow, I really learned a lot in the process of this meeting. So thank you all so much for sharing from your heart and giving practical tips. What I really loved was the fact that everything you all shared was practical. And then I'd like to thank everyone who attended. I can see your comments, Abisola, Anne, Bernard, Pelumi, like all of you. Thank you so much for commenting and being a part of this. Without you, this would have been boring. Because you were here, this happened. So thank you all so much. And I hope Ruth says, gosh, you are so fun. Actually, I'm not a funny, I'm a very, very serious person. I really don't know what happened to me today. Maybe just the excitement of seeing my friends from ASU. I honestly do not know. I'm just so excited. Or maybe because it's my birthday month, I don't know. But thank you all so much for coming. And you have assignments, please, let me bring out my primary school head teacher role. Go on the group and write what you have learned today. You are also going to share it on social media. You can use the hashtag GrowWithTSC, because if you write the safety check, it will be too long. So I've shortened it for you. And the reason you're sharing is because there may be somebody who may never get access to this platform, but because of you, they are going to learn something new, okay? And then the second assignment is, I'd like you to share practical steps you have picked, which you're going to implement, as a matter of fact, starting from this week. We don't just learn for learning's sake in this side. I like to see results. So I was so happy when Tolu showed me how she was going to be speaking on an international platform because of the tips she got from our strategy session. So please, you need to do that. I'll be checking your assignment on the group. And if you see somehow you found yourself here, you're not a member of our group, please come to the other side so you can have access to more information. All right, so thank you all so much. I'll see you all on Telegram. I'll be commenting on your output on Telegram. So goodbye, everyone. See you on the 16th. Thank you all so much for coming. All right, bye.